All right, are you ready? Causes of low self-esteem. Unsupportive parents, caregivers, or others who've played influential roles in our lives, friends who are or have been bad influences in our lives, stressful life events such as relationship problems, divorce or having to move our residences, bereavements or serious illnesses, trauma and abuse, poor performances at school or work due to setting unrealistic goals for ourselves, mood disorders, mental health struggles of all kinds, including PTSD, CPTSD, and anxiety. Comments? Just keep going.
You want me to try and say? Yes. Self-esteem is one of the biggest things that we have to use for coping. Medication is only 10%. It can only do so much to make sure that we can keep balance. That's why they keep on adjusting it up and down, up and down. So self-esteem is a huge one for coping for us. It puts up the walls, the barriers, saying where we can go, where we feel good, and it builds us stronger every single battle we have to verse, especially with PTSD.
Absolutely. So signs of low self-esteem: saying negative things about and being critical about yourself, joking about yourself in a negative way, focusing on all of your negatives and ignoring your achievements, blaming yourself when things go wrong, thinking that others
that's
are
normal.
better than you. Want to stop at
any
blaming?
mental illness, everybody's going to start blaming themselves. They're going to self-beat themselves, everything possible. If you can do it and not do it, I applaud you to it, because I'm the worst person, and I'll admit it myself. I beat myself up more than anybody could ever do to me. And it's, if you can think of the positive and start on the most positive note in the first part of the day, it's been proven that most of the rest of the day is going to be a positive note for you.
Yep.
Routine is huge for that self-esteem building. If you get a routine of making the bed and accomplish that thing, you'll feel good about accomplishing the other stuff.
Absolutely. Thinking that others are better than you, thinking that you don't deserve. What's that? Oh yeah.
Others are always better than me.
Thinking that you don't deserve love, respect, or just to have fun.
I'm not answering that one. I'm choosing other.
Okay. And then effects of low self-esteem. And stop me anywhere you want to interject. Difficulty with relationships or problems at work or school.
You just go right at it, don't you?
No
low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. You have no guards. You will choose the wrong person any which way, because you think either that you're going to be the helper or you're going to have them help you. Any which way it becomes a codependency, because when you have low self-esteem and don't know your own worth, you're going to get damaged.
And that goes into, I think I've discussed this briefly before, triangulation, which is extremely toxic, where there's the victim, the villain, and the rescuer. Victim and villain switch places, but we are always the rescuers trying to make peace. And if you find yourself in that situation, get rid of those other two people. You may be very upset by criticism or disapproval and withdraw from activities and people. You may also avoid doing anything where you may be judged or measured against other people.
With PTSD, it is one of the worst things for us to go in agoraphobia, because it's the most common thing as soon as the trauma hits, is that we isolate. No matter what, you can look at all the symptoms. The first one is usually isolation. You've just gone through hell. You're going to isolate so you can understand what the hell's going on. So you do isolate from friends. You do isolate, and you start trying to find your new self, and your new self might not like your old friends.
Right.
And that's the part where it's like you have to find the balance So,
How about not looking after your appearance or overcompensating by always being perfectly groomed?
I think I'm perfect. Pretty perfect.
Good. How about problems with your body image, drinking too much alcohol, or taking drugs? I'm not including medical marijuana and other harsh things.
But marijuana
Or you may not stand up. Go ahead.
Because as soon as you have PTSD, it's the most commonly that's used as a Band-Aid. So if you're using it before you go into a trauma program, tell the counselor before, because usually they work with it, because they know that you want to be able to focus everything possible so that you can take it in. They'll monitor you just like any nurse. You let your nurses know. I know it feels weird telling them, but honestly, they've heard more horror stories than anybody using.
Right.
So let them know what you're using and why you're using it. It's for either night terrors or flashbacks, the Band-Aid, to make it through the day, and they will help you through that.
And do you find that many of them, I find in my doctors, that many of them appreciate the fact that that particular thing that I do is a coping mechanism, and that it doesn't affect my quality of life or taking my meds?
Yeah. When you're saying things honest to them, and then they don't have no worries. That's the one thing that the medical field will tell you straight out. If you're honest and you have a good feeling with this person, and you're being honest with them, saying, okay, I'm smoking this much a day, but it's because I'm having triggers at these day times. I've tried the coping mechanism. They didn't work. I went to the other route, the next day plan. And that's where they're working with you to find the right balance of medication, to coping skills, to everything.
You always need to be honest with every single one of your doctors, because if you're not, then either something medical could go wrong because of something that you're doing. So in order to make sure that all your bases are covered and they're watching your medical, your psych, what have you.
Especially with the medication, because there's so many of them that can cross mix.
Right. Yep. So after that was, you may not stand up for yourself when you're being bullied or abused.
I think that one's yours.
What?
I think that one's yours.
Yep. And then health problems that are associated with it. Depression and anxiety, eating disorders.
Oh, there's a list of this. This is the one thing that I learned when I was a counselor, to even work in the fire department. Stress itself is the leading cause of death.
Mm-hmm.
You have heart failure, you have lungs that can fail you just from the stress itself. So putting in post-traumatic stress, so something you relive every single day that's terrified you, you're going to have health problems from not wanting to eat too much, diabetes, eye problems, hearing problems, like the list goes on. With PTSD, every single doctor and counselor, sound in mind and body. Yeah, it is the truth. If your mind is healthy, your body's healthy. Doctors will tell you as soon as you've got the PTSD is to find your area that you're nice and there's no chaos, because it's going to take time for the healing. And that's the part where your body, because it's going through the same thing. Your physical body is going through the same emotions as your mind.
Yep. So then, okay, next I'm going to go, and this is fresh material. Ways to improve your self-esteem. And I'll read like 3 of them and then get feedback. Think about things that you're good at. What are your strengths? Celebrate the small things or milestones in yourself, in your life, and give yourself a pat on the back when you achieve even the smallest things. Challenge your negative thinking. Look for alternative explanations and put things in perspective.
There's the motivational speech that worked it really has worked, and it's true the way they platform it. When you join the military, a routine is huge. Once you accomplish one thing, you're able to conquer the next big thing. And it's the truth. You start off your day, and if you see it as positive, it's going to be harder to break down that positive than starting off of already having the negative.
Right. Okay, so then next, think about and focus on things that you can change, and don't worry about the things that you can't change. Avoid trying to do things perfectly. Perfection simply isn't possible, so set reasonable expectations for yourself. Stop beating yourself up when you make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I think one of the big things there is focusing on things that we can change and not worrying about the things we can't. That stuck out to me. Someone said, I beat myself up every day for what he done to me. If I didn't let him in, he wouldn't have done what he did. And that there goes right back to the blaming ourselves.
The positive out of all that is that you try and find the positive in that type of relationship. What you look for the next one. You know your balance of what was healthy of it and what was not. And the next one's going to be better. You can't blame yourself for someone else's actions.
Yep, you break the cycle and you realize it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, I think some people take chances with which other people or some people might think it's a healthy thing at the time. And then they took a bit of a chance. They thought, oh, maybe this person looks like he can look after himself. He might be a bit tasty. And I don't mean to say he's going to give me any problem. Like, I can't, so like I like him. So why not, see how it goes? And then the next thing, he turns on you, and then you blame yourself for taking that chance, right? So then after that, you don't want to take any chances. But like other people have done great because they took chances. It's just it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yes. And someone just made a comment. Next one, there won't be a next relationship. I'm thick, but not that thick. Ha ha ha. I agree.
You can use it for friendships, everything, stuff that you enjoy. But this way, it makes a healthier boundaries because it shows that we didn't have.
Hold on, Shane, you broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that? I agree, iPhone. Friendships are overrated, just the same as relationships. Absolutely.
When I first met Diane, we were like friends, we went out everywhere and did loads of things together because we just wanted to be together. That was it. There was no nothing else other than that. Just coming out, just being around each other. And we did that for quite a long time before it turned into a relationship. Normally, like, you don't want to get in the friend zone, right? So,
right.
You know what I mean? I would never have done it in the friend zone before, but like it just happened that way with this, and it just happened to work out. I didn't think of myself in the friend zone or not at any point, but I just wanted to be with her, and she wanted to be with me, so we just did that, And then 11 years later, bam, still here.
So I'm going to read this next one, and you guys can comment. She said, I'll just continue to be the crazy cat lady with 10 million cats. Right on. So another way of improving it is doing things that you enjoy. It is much easier to be positive when you are doing things that you like and spending time on things that interest you. And then in parentheses, I put, you guys can talk about this: hobbies, art, singing, music, hanging out with true friends, etc. Now I'm muting and I can hear y'all.
All right, y'all, I'm looking for anybody who's typing stuff up and I'll just read it out. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I've done that for quite a long time. I've got into guitars, and then I got into modifying guitars, so they, you know, you adjust them up so they play better, and you put different parts on them so they sound better, and you put better tuners on it that lock up, so you put better quality tuners on it so it tunes up better and stays. You do everything to make the guitar better. You get a cheap guitar and make it play like a more expensive guitar. So that was a challenge and a hobby that I love doing, plus learning how to play it. So, and that's kept my attention and got me through a lot, you know. When I'm having a hard time, you know what I mean, just bury myself in my guitars, looking at hundreds of guitar pictures, guitar parts, guitar videos, talking about guitar stuff and all that. So, you know, and my other hobby is like fixing computers. I just love fixing computers, you know, sorting out Windows when it gets in a mess and all that. So I've got like loads of people know that I do that. And so I've got a list of people that call me up when they've got problems with their computers. And I do that. So there's two things I've thrown myself into. It's got me through a lot of hard times, you know, and made those times more pleasant, you know. And I've been able to do it at my own pace because I'm not charging anybody for fixing their PC. My guitars, I could do it as and when I want. So I could always start off small, just do a bit more, take a break, do a bit more, take a break. You know, there's not been any pressure in any of the hobbies that I've done. So I can't recommend hobbies and art enough. I think, you know, people who like paint things, draw things and all that. So yeah, I'm big on that because that's helped me a lot with so much.
Wow.
Anybody else got any hobbies that they can testify has helped them out, or they're trying that might help them out?
I paint and paper my house. I find that calming.
All right, so painting the paper in the house like that calms you down, yeah. That's a brilliant thing to do, because then obviously it improves your environment at the same time, doesn't it? So afterwards you can look back and admire it, and your house feels better, your home feels better. Yeah. That's a win-win, mate.
And I like drawing.
All right.
Colouring in, things like that.
Yeah, man. We do that occasionally. I open a group. Shane and Sarah have opened some groups sort of like in the afternoon and stuff where they just do colouring in or drawing, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that's well therapeutic. You know?
It is.
It's not even my thing, but I had to go at it, and I still found it therapeutic, even though it wasn't the most enjoyable thing for me. You know, but I'd still do it again, easy. You know, just hanging out, especially when there's a few of you doing it. You know, so I'm looking forward to a few more of those type of life.
Shane probably isn't in a place to do them right now, but I would do them. Did you say, Brett, that you didn't enjoy it, or you did, or it was out of your comfort zone? What was that part?
No. I said it's not normally the sort of thing that buzzes me up, and it wasn't the, you know, I didn't get excited about doing it too much. You know what I mean? It wasn't really my thing, but I'll definitely do it again because I did enjoy it, and I loved hanging out with everyone at the same time doing it. You know.
And then we also said, like, if we put it as like an adult coloring book, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Hello, is that Molly? Nope, which one is that?
Yeah, it's Molly.
Oh, it is Molly. Okay, I got it right.
Molly the kitten. Man.
She's beautiful. I love her. She's beautiful.
She is beautiful. Man. And that right there, to what you're doing, pet therapy is another way.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say briefly, when we do those coloring things, like if I open up a coloring room, you don't necessarily have to be coloring or doing anything. You could be crafting, you could be just enjoying the conversation. Yeah. It's just kind of like an open chat, but with whatever is calming you down and that kind of thing.
I remember I was in it last time. Remember I was putting transfers on the neck of one of my guitars while you was all colouring in.
Yeah, do you have that with you, or that? And so you can show Kim. Kim, this is amazing. He didn't have his art supplies that he ordered yet for colouring the book.
So everyone was colouring. I was putting them transfers on.
So I only have a couple more things to read off of this, and then we'll get comments and call it a night and go on to other stuff that I have for later.
Okay.
So the next one is surround yourself with people who don't bring you down, but instead surround yourself with people who build you up. Volunteer to help others. This can make you feel better about yourself. And then I added this, doesn't have or need to be, quote, volunteer work. The simplest things like volunteering to help your spouse with meals, children, take care of children, or friends with meals, social visits, help out with housework, volunteer and help without being asked for it.
Yeah.
And exercising can improve your mood, any physical exercise.
Yeah.
Feedback on that?
Also make a list of jobs that I want to do in the house, and I'll just like pick the easiest bits and just do everything in small increments. I'll just go, oh, we're going to tidy this today. I'm going to do that, and then when that's done, think of the next little easy bit I can do. Do everything in baby steps, man. Just,
Don't get overwhelmed. Like, start out with the simplest, and then when you
I've stopped looking at the whole pile anymore. I don't look at the big mess I've got to sort out. I just look at the bit I want to do now, and just focus on that small bit, and then take a tea break, coffee break, whatever I want, loads of times, and stuff can wait till tomorrow.
And then know your limit of when enough is enough for that day too. Like, do what you can,
Yeah, absolutely. You quickly find out and sometimes you keep going for ages, you get loads of things done,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then, but I don't count on it. I start from scratch. Whenever there's a new thing comes up, I go, right, I'm going to approach it small, just do a little bit.
And what about surrounding yourself with people who don't bring you down but building you up? That can be tough sometimes.
It ain't so easy because people are people, but I know it's doable to a degree. But then it's kind of like, it's a bit tricky because sometimes it's like I think very often familiarity breeds contempt. So, the more you hang around with people too much, then they start to take liberties if you ain't careful, right? So I kind of like keep my distance and I don't hang around with people too much, right? So, so that's it really, I very rarely have anybody here because it stresses me out too much. And by the same token, the flip side is that if they did, they'd probably take the mick after a while. They'd you know what I mean? Because they do, don't they? People are just like that, so many people are like that. Even if they're nice people, there's still a side of them that will just naturally start to take advantage when they've been around too long, So
right.
I don't give people a chance to trip up on that.
Right.
One. You know what I mean? I just don't invite people around. One, because it stresses me. Two, because I want to keep that distance. I prefer that distance,
Absolutely.
If anyone proves to me that they're over time that that they're not going to be like the vast majority of people out there, then great. I've made a real good friend, I'll add on to that, being there's a quiet spell going on. There's a friend of mine I've known for a lot of years, and he started getting a bit too whatever. And so I thought, you know what, that's it, I'm not talking to him anymore. He, just started taking it. He snapped at me a few times with things, And so that was it. So I blew him off and stopped talking to him online. So I just left it and backed away. And so at the moment, it's working really well, Just the fact that I didn't cut him right out of my life completely, but I cut him out enough that if he wanted to go, he could go, And
but you left him a way back in, as long as it wasn't, you didn't cut him out. You let him decide if he was going to be who he was.
Yeah. So he made.
But I would imagine you've still got your guard up a little bit in case it goes south as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he wouldn't get away with that. If he did it again, I'd just cut him off again. Just do it the same as I did last time. Just stop talking to him.
Right.
Just back away, but I'll be busy doing stuff. No?
Yeah. This next one, I think is important. The volunteering to help others, and not in a way of like going to become a volunteer at a hospital or stuff like that where you don't feel comfortable leaving your home. But the simplest things like offering to help your spouse with meals, cleaning up the house a little bit, taking after kids, checking on your friends, seeing if they're all right, maybe cooking a meal and bringing it to them if you're close to them, doing social visits with friends, and helping with housework and volunteering help without being asked for it.
A good one.
And then the last one is exercising can improve your mood, any physical exercise. That one is tough for me. I get very sedentary, meaning like I just tend to sit in a place for a really, really long time and not even realize that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So that's a struggle for me.
Yeah, I'm not good with the exercise because with fibromyalgia as well, you know, I can only do certain amounts of it.
It's painful, yeah. And then the very last thing that's important, and actually, Brett, there's a whole slew of stuff that goes with this that I'm going to add to the resource page.
Right.
But it just says resources support. If your low self-esteem continues in such an unhealthy way that it is harmful or destructive to you or endangers your life in any way, talk to your doctor, a counselor, somebody to manage these symptoms to help keep yourself safe. So that is the nutshell of it, but then there's a whole list of suicide lines, crisis lines that are different that we're going to put up there.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, man.
So that wraps it up. We've discussed what causes it and some tips. And then next time I might challenge you with a group activity of actually taking out a piece of paper and starting to write down some negatives into positives.
Right. Incidentally, that those resources you just said about, for if anybody's listening, don't know, you'll see it in the featured part at the top of Sarah Beth's Real Talk group page. If you go to the featured bit, you'll see where it says resource or crises. And if you click on that, that'll take you to the other group page where there's all kinds of resources like that on there, plus what we're going to add on it as well. So lots of helplines and web pages and all that.
Thank you for doing that for the people who didn't know.
Yeah, man. Just realised that not everybody would know about it.
All right. Well, I think that's a good start for the first part of our series. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and learned.
Yeah, it was excellent.
All right. I love every single one of you. And I will see you in our next group chat. Stay tuned. It'll be posted.
Alrighty then.
And depending on what Stacy's group does, I might try to do it at different times, but Kim will send you an invite to ours anytime if you're interested. All right, my lovelies, have a sparkling evening or morning.
Yeah, man.
Morning here.
Yeah, nearly 2 8.
Yeah, kept me up again, little woman.